Hi, my name is Nick Grange from Elite Outdoor Fitness. I'm going to very quickly cover iliotibial band and the issues with that when it gets a little bit too tight, causing runner's knee. Okay, I'm not physio, so I'm not going to go into the names of that because I can't remember all of them. But essentially, just going to give you the basics. I've had runner's knee twice in my life. One where it came back from the original injury, but the first one being really, really bad. I was on selection, so I kind of carried on for like a month or two on it, and it became really bad. My knee swelled up pretty bad, so it's like a really severe reaction to runner's knee, that is. But generally, most people that get runner's knee, you're going to feel a little bit of discomfort just on the outside of your knee, there, okay? And it's probably something initially that you're going to go, that don't seem too bad, because that's quite normal, because it is only a slight inflammation and a little bit of rubbing, and it's normally after you've been actually training and afterwards you go, oh, I've got a little bit of discomfort there. And it might even be that when the iliotibial band kind of loosens up a little bit, it feels like it's a bit better because the tension's taken off, but you've still got that inflammation that started around the bursar area. Eventually, you'll get to a stage where you'll just go, because it's always a little bit sore after I've trained, and it's normally a bit too late then, and you have to bound right back and stop all running and exercise, and you have to start walking once you've got that inflammation down, and it can set somebody back months and months in their training. So here's what I do to steer away from it, is do some iliotibial band kind of exercises. One of them is kind of against the wall. It's really difficult to kind of stretch that iliotibial band, but it's like these types of stretches are kind of stretching all the way down one side and trying to capture a little bit of stretching from the glute or the arse kind of area, all the way on the outside and across the knee. Another kind of couple of routines that I do when I'm doing it, because I don't have any problems with my iliotibial band, but it's quite possible because I do a relatively good stretching routine for everything we're trying to capture. But one of them is certainly when I'm doing the running machine, is I bring my leg up, I put it on the side of the running machine like that, I make sure that my right foot is actually facing forward, in line with this one here, and then I bring my chest down as far as I can, so that I'm just giving my glutes a nice stretch. And what I find with that is it really kind of captures the top end of my iliotibial band, which comes from the glute area. I obviously do that with both legs, and all that does is just an added extra bonus every time I use a running machine, which this time of year is probably 4 or 5 times a week. I make sure that I'm just doing the kind of the glute and the iliotibial band. I also find, just more recently in the last 2 or 3 years, we're doing loads of Bergen work for the records and that I did. My hips were really tight, and they still are, and I had a few kind of glute and high hamstring injuries and stuff like that. All those exercises that I did to kind of increase a bit of movement in my hips and release the hip kind of tightness that I had really helped my iliotibial band. The iliotibial band runs from over the back of the arse and down the side of the leg, and it's like a sheath to a certain extent, and then it crosses over the knee there, and that's where you start to get discomfort. So really, really important that you kind of notice it if you're getting a little bit of knee issues. It's not always iliotibial band kind of injuries or issues, because there's a lot going on in the area, but certainly on the outside of the knee where that bursar area is, a physiotherapist will probably be able to put his thumb in there and say, yeah, that's you that's got a tight iliotibial band. How do you notice it? How do you know that it's coming on? Normally from overloading training. If you're doing more running, or you've just got back into running, and you're probably doing quite a bit, or you're increasing your mileage more so than you normally would, or you've kind of got that plateau state where you're normally doing, I don't know, 35, 40 miles a week, but now all of a sudden you start to do 45, 50 miles a week, then your body's going to react to that in a lot of different ways, because it's out of the norm of your normal body routine and the adaptations that kind of take place and what you're used to. And what you might find is just by rubbing your leg there, you'll be able to feel that that sheath is a little bit tighter. I can't even feel it at the moment. I can delve into my muscles, and although my quads are a little bit tight, I can't even feel where the sheath is because it's nice and relaxed. Okay, so if when you're not training on the day, days off or whatever, you can feel a little bit of tightness there, it's a good idea to kind of go through a routine of like stretching your iliotibial band. Best way to do that, because it's like a sheath of plastic, it's really, really not pliable, but to make it more pliable and make it a bit more manageable to manipulate, have a hot bath for about 20 minutes. That's what I did. I went through a bad runner's knee, as I say, and that's all I did. My physiotherapist down in Hereford said it's the worst case he'd ever seen. Cortisone injection in there. I was lucky enough to have that because the inflammation went down within 12 days, and then I started doing my walking routine around the block, and it took me about, I think, 2.5 months to get up to running 3.5, 4 miles, when the previous month or two I was doing like 30, 40 milers. So that's how much you have to bound back. You only get runner's knee once, because you won't want to get it again. So just don't get it for that first time. Hope this helps, and it's kind of some help with all those runners out there that are looking at increasing the load or increasing the mileage or starting to run for the first time. Thanks for listening.